Brian Zipsey and Matt Schiffman here for Horse Racing Nation. We're at Belmont Park. We're 1 day removed from the Belmont Stakes and a chance for history with California Chrome, 2/3 of the way home, and tomorrow he'll be the heavy favorite in an 11-horse field in the Belmont Stakes. Matt and I are going to work on a couple pick fours for you. Matt, how about you get us started off? We're looking at the late pick four. It's a $1.5 million guaranteed pick four tomorrow, and that's the 8th race, the Grade 1 Just a Game Stakes.
Going a mile on the turf with the older fillies and mares in a race that is pretty wide open in here. We've got Somali Lemonade coming off of 2 wins in April at Keeneland and May at Pimlico. On the lead.
She's got a new style.
Yeah, on the lead. It certainly has been very successful, keeping the Luis Saez up. The classy Stephanie's Kitten is also going to be one of the favorites in the race, who's just had 1 race back in the Jenny Wiley at Keeneland, where she finished 8th. I think you and I kind of agree on a horse in here that might be a little bit of a price. We both like the 5-horse Coffee Click from Brian Lynch with Javier Castellano up. What I like about this horse is, besides the 2 impressive wins this year, one at Gulfstream, one at Churchill Downs, on 2 very different kind of racing surfaces, and that was important to me. But the final times in those races were just super fast. 134.2, 134.3, probably faster times than anybody in this field has produced. And
she's getting a mile again. This will be her 3rd straight mile. So those 2 wins were both at a mile. And like Matt mentioned, she closed pretty fast at Churchill Downs last time. She finished in 24 seconds, getting up to beat Dame Marie. And at Gulfstream, she actually finished even faster than that in about 23. So yeah, I think she's a 4-year-old who was a nice 3-year-old last year. She likes to win. She's won half of her lifetime starts. This is probably her toughest test to date, but she's getting good. She's a 4-year-old now that probably is better than she was last year. And there's 10 to 1 on the morning line.
And there's nobody I'd rather have riding on the turf than Javier Castellano. On his home Belmont turf, he's super on the grass.
So if she's anywhere near 10 to 1, Matt and I are both agreeing number 5, Coffee Click, is a must-use for the pick 4 tomorrow. Matt mentioned 2 others that I think I like as much as anybody. Somali Lemonade used to be a real closer. Now she's got speed and she's looking better than ever. She likes it when there's a little give to the turf, which I still think there'll be tomorrow.
Yeah, definitely.
And the number 6, Stephanie's Kitten, doesn't mind a wet turf at all either. So she's only had that 1 race where she got shuffled around. She was 8th, but she's only beaten 3 1/4. If everybody runs their best race, I would think Stephanie's Kitten's the one to beat. So the 3 I wrote down for the pick 4, Matt, were 4, 5, and 6, but we haven't even mentioned some of the outside horses who are favorites here. The 9, Discreet Mark, 5 to 2, 10, Better Lucky, 3 to 1, and even the 8, Water Ray Run is at 6 to 1. That's easy for me to say.
Yeah, there's no doubt Discreet Mark is going to take a lot of action. Christophe Clement at Belmont Park is hard to pass by, but I don't know. Discreet Mark to me has a little bit too much of second-itis. Seems to not have been wanting to get there lately, so.
She's a beautiful gray filly that I've always liked.
Absolutely.
Turf record, she's run 6 firsts, 4 seconds out of 13 races, but I think Matt's right a little bit in that she had some pace setups last year where she was alone on the slow pace, and she did well, but she's had a lot of seconds recently against this kind or maybe even a notch below. So I think she's beatable.
Yeah, I'm going to let her go in here.
And what about the 10, Better Lucky? On her best day, she is good enough to win this for sure. In fact, she gave Stephanie's Kitten all she can handle. Stephanie's Kitten is the defending champion of this race, but Better Lucky was right with her in the stretch last year.
Yep. She's one that you should consider.
All right, but we're consensus on the 4, 5, 6?
Absolutely.
Hopefully we'll get some odds with the 5. and maybe even the 4 as well. Okay, we're looking at the 9th race, which is the $1.25 million Metropolitan Mile, one of my favorite races of the year, Matt, and one of my favorite horses currently in training is the one Palace Malice, 124 pounds, 8-5 on the morning line, and he drew the rail in a pretty big 13-horse field. What do you think of him?
Well, I mean, I think we both agree that Palace Malice is at the top of the older male division right now, and if it wasn't for him drawing the one post, I would have no reservation about Palace Malice in here. He's run the biggest numbers of anybody in here, and I think has enough versatility. But I'm concerned about the rail. Certainly, we're going to use him in the pick 4, but little concerned there.
Yeah, Palace Malice, like I said, is a horse I really like. Just getting better and better. He was a nice 3-year-old. Of course, he won the Belmont Stakes last year. I think the mile is well within his distance abilities, but I think this is a really tough spot for him. And at 8-5 with 124 pounds breaking from the rail, I think, you throw him into the pick 4, but I think there's a good reason to believe that one of the others will pop up and beat him. And Matt, I see one that's just below him at 30-1 on the morning line. His name is Vijak, and this time last year, or maybe a month or two earlier this time last year, Vijak was one of the hot 2-year-olds. He won 3 straight stakes, including the Gotham going into the Wood Memorial last year. I really like Vijak as a horse that can sit in the middle of the pack and make a move at 1 mile. He's only had one race, which was pretty good this year. He came back and won against a little cheaper, but he's been working great. If he gets the trip at 30-1, I think he's a horse that could really set off a nice pick 4 for us.
Yeah, I think we need to mention the 4-horse Golden Sense, who we all know was amazing in the dirt mile in the Breeders' Cup last year. This is his first start back this year, and he's a strong horse, and he's been working bullets out there at Santa Anita. To me, all of his good races have been at Santa Anita, and that puts me off of Golden Sense a little bit in here.
Yeah, interesting. He came to New York for his last race as well, which was late last fall. He never got the lead in the Cigar Mile, and he backed out a little bit. I think there's a good chance that the speed will be tough for him tomorrow. Again, another very nice horse, but as the third choice or so in here, I'm willing to take a shot against as well. Who do we like, though? We mentioned the 1, we mentioned the 2. Isn't there someone else in here you're looking at?
I like the 13 shaking it up. I think the race is going to set up nicely for him. There's going to be enough speed in here. If Palace Malice gets caught down on the rail and has traffic problems, I think this shaking it up can do good things in here. His race at Churchill Downs a month ago in May was really impressive. He closed like crazy just to come up a head short to Central Banker. So I'm definitely using shaking it up. And Brian, I know you also like another one in here.
Yeah, if I had to pick one horse, actually, with the disadvantage of the weight and the post for Palace Malice, Matt, I think Normandy Invasion, believe it or not, has a really good chance to get that first graded stakes win. He's a horse that people have been waiting for a long time. He hasn't broken through in the big race yet, but I think this race might be the setup that he's been waiting for. He gets a lot of speed to run at. He gets a little shorter distance in the flat mile. I expect his rally to be pretty stout tomorrow. So look for him to come from back in the pack a little bit. Javier Castellanos on him. You said how much you like him on turf. Yeah, I think Normandy's got a great shot. He might be the second choice, but I like his chances. We're not mentioning a lot of good horses like Moreno, Central Banker, Clearly Now, but we're going to limit this to just a few. So I think the ones we mentioned, Matt, were the 1, Palace Malice. If he gets beat, we won't mind it at those odds. Vijak is a real bomb.
Yep.
And then we both liked, I like the 9 a lot, you like the 13 a lot, but we both agree that those horses are certainly horses who could win. So we kind of went towards the 1, 2, 9, 13 in the Met Mile. What's next?
Now we're going a mile and a quarter on the turf in the Manhattan, the Grade 1 Manhattan.
Turf.
Turf.
Back to the turf. I love it.
Another big field of pretty evenly matched horses. My top choice in here is probably Grandeur. I think it's time for this horse to get the big win in the country. Came in 2012, won out in California, went back to Europe for a while, and in May came back to the U.S. in the Man of War, which was kind of had a pretty slow pace. Wasn't a great setup for Grandeur. Leparoux was up now. Finally, the horse is getting Lasix, which is, usually what is happening when they come here from Europe. They come to get Lasix. So I was surprised it didn't happen before, but now he's getting Lasix. Gary Stevens up over Leparoux. To me, that's a great change. So my top pick is Grandeur.
Yeah, Grandeur certainly was not helped. I didn't really like the Man of War so much. I thought it was for the Man of War. I thought it was a little bit weak. Imagining won it on the lead with that slow pace, which I think you're right, did no favor to Grandeur. And with the Lasix and with Leparoux, I think he's one that we should include. And out of the Man of War horses, I think I like him best. I think the horse to beat, I'm going to talk about a few long shots in a second. That's a coming attraction. But I think the horse to beat in here is the 6, Seek Again. He's probably the favorite for Belmont, pretty new to the Belmont barn. But his 2 races in America have just been bang up in my eyes. He beat a strong field in the Hollywood Derby at this 1.25 mile distance last year. And then we saw him at Churchill Downs on Derby Day give Wise Dan everything but the kitchen sink. Almost beat him there.
Got a little bit of a bad start in that race, and it was a head bob. So
if he runs back to those 2 races, I think he's going to take some beating tomorrow in the Manhattan. So we're including those two of the favorites. But how about long shots? Did you like anyone else?
I know that you, the golf person that you are, you like that number 7 horse, 5 Iron.
I would never bet a horse for its name, Matt. I think you know that.
I know that.
But yeah, well, this horse, I think he's going to be at least the 15-1 that we see in the morning line. The name is 5 Iron. He's the number 7, and he's really the speed of the field. I think there's other horses who have flashed speed here and there in slower paced races, but I think 5 Iron is a true speed horse. He showed some ability in previous trips to New York. He's won the Saranac here at 9 furlongs, or at Saratoga, excuse me, and he won the Fort Marcy last time at 9 furlongs. And he's a speed horse. I think he's on the lead, and if the pace is slow enough, I think he might just get brave. It's a tough race to wire. At big odds, 5 Iron is one to include. That's the number 7. And then I liked one other one.
What's your other? You got another Zipsy special?
Well, the California Invader, rookie sensation, has done nothing wrong on turf. He's 2 wins, 2 seconds, and a third out of 6 races. And his only out of the money race was the Hollywood Derby, where he set the pace and kind of tired, but it was still beaten less than 3 lengths. His 2 races this year have been very unlucky. He should have won both of them. He showed an explosive turn of foot in the Twilight Derby during Breeders' Cup Week last year, and I think he's an up-and-comer. I think he's going to make some noise. He's coming across the country. He's going 1.25 miles. You want to look for some odds with him, but I think he's a horse that's going to make some noise.
And he's coming across the country, but he has been here for a month or so training at Belmont. So
Sheriff's House in New York.
Yep, it's not like he just got off the plane, and he's got Mike Smith up, and we know the Sheriff's Mike Smith combination can at times do good things.
Yeah. There's some good horses in here again that we didn't mention. This is the thing about this card tomorrow. So many good horses. Real Solution, Boisterous, and certainly
Imaging.
Imagining. Yeah, those are 3 horses that could win, but neither of us love them, so we're not going to include them in this Pick 4 ticket. We want to keep this manageable. All right, so that's the 3 races, and what's next?
I think it might be the Belmont Stakes.
The Belmont Stakes. That's going to be a big one, isn't it, Matt? The California, what's his name? California Chrome.
I think California Chrome. I think there'll be a few people here with some interest in that race.
I've heard a few good things about California Chrome.
Yep.
he's the Derby winner, he's the Preakness winner, and he didn't have too much trouble winning either one. He's going to be the favorite. He'll be under even money tomorrow. So for the pick 4 purposes, we're gonna look for some horses to play as alternates and hope that the pick 4 goes up if we're all disappointed that there's no Triple Crown. But we will certainly be including California Chrome in our pick 4.
You have to, absolutely.
Who else you have, Matt?
Well, we're going to have to include Wicked Strong. He's the local horse, and he's training really, really well for the race. His Wood Memorial was terrific, and he ran nicely in the Derby. Really troubled trip, as you guys all know, coming down the stretch to finish 4th, and has been here back in New York waiting for this race, and he's probably going to be running at the end. I don't think he's a horse that's gonna get tired. So if everybody else is getting tired, he could pick up the pieces, and that's the kind of race it's going to have to be for Wicked Strong to win. He's not going to unleash a tremendous closing move, but he's going to be steady, and he's going to keep coming at the end, and you need to be able to do that in the Belmont Stakes.
Kind of a sustained rally,
Yep.
a birdstone, a victory gallop. He's that type of horse, and I agree with Matt. Wicked Strong is certainly, I think, the most likely horse to disappoint the Triple Crown fans. What else, Matt? What else do we got?
Well, I know we talked about which horses might be out on the lead, because we know that in terms of the Belmont Stakes, the best running style in the Belmont Stakes is out in front or very, very close to the lead.
Well, I think that might be California Chrome we're talking about.
It certainly might, absolutely. And that's going to be a big decision for Espinoza in the Belmont. But otherwise, I think we've talked about whether Samrat is going to get out there on the lead, and Tonalist for Christophe Clement certainly is going to go for the lead, in my opinion, off of the Peter Pan, where he basically wired that field.
Okay. All right, so we threw in General A-Rod as a long shot, that grinder type that might be able to surprise them all and take them all the way. Who's our last horse, the 4th horse we wanted to throw in?
Yeah, our 4th horse is going to be Tonalist from the Clement barn. He's been training really strongly for this race. Could be forwardly placed, certainly has the breeding to keep running at the end, and definitely a threat in the race.
Lightly raced horse who looks to be getting good at the right time. I love his female side, as you said, with the pedigree, Matt. So that's Tonalist as our 4th horse. Why don't we go over that pick 4 now? We've gone through the 4 races. I think we outlined a $96 bet. If you've been paying attention at home, this is a 50-cent pick 4 we're going to do, Matt?
50-cent pick 4.
Let's go over them again. The 8th race, again, was the Just a Game Stakes. We used 3 horses in there. Coffee Click was your top pick, 10-1 on the morning line. That's the 5. We also used number 6 is Stephanie's Kitten, and the 4 was the Red Hot Somali Lemonade. So 4, 5, and 6 in leg 1.
Right.
Leg 2 is the Met Mile. Who'd we use there, Matt?
Well, we have Pals Mouse included in there as a potential horse of the year. On the outside, the 13 is Shaking It Up, and
Vijack was my bomb, the number 2. So that's the 1, 2, the 9, Normandy Invasion, who I said I think might be the most likely winner in the Met Mile, and number 13, Shaking It Up. So that's 1, 2, 9, 13. Then we went over to the Manhattan, back to the turf. Who was your top pick again,
my
Matt?
top pick was Grandeur.
Grandeur was your top pick. I said Seek Again was the most likely winner. I like your Grandeur. And then we threw in a couple of long ones. The 3, Rookie Sensation. Big turn of foot coming from California. He's been unlucky this year so far. And then that Bomb Speed horse, 5 iron.
5 iron.
No one likes this horse but me, but I think he's going to be out there and he might get brave. So in the Manhattan, we used the 3, 4, 6, and 7. And then we came to the Belmont.
On to the Belmont Stakes, and
Wicked Strong.
Wicked Strong.
We both like Wicked Strong. General A-Rod was our bomb. Tonalist, Up and Comer. Is that it?
I think we're including California Chrome.
I knew I forgot one. California Chrome, the 2. So that's 2, 9, 10, 11. Real quick, 4, 5, 6 with the 1, 2, 9, 13 with the 3, 4, 6, 7 with the 2, 9, 10, 11. That'll be 50 cent pick 4 will cost you $96. Hopefully we hit it. Hopefully you hit it. Thanks for watching. Matt and I from Horse Racing Nation.